there's the mic. I have got lovely Alex here in the kitchen today, and thank you so much for joining me.
Pleasure.
And we did not plan this.
No, we did not.
This
It's
is
happened before.
this is totally accidental, but the sun is shining. And what are you making for us?
I'm gonna make a filo pie, but it will be hand stretched. So you see how we make the dough for hand stretched filo pastry essentially, and then fill it with a classic stuffing of feta and leek.
Oh my God. So filo, if you know, I have used it in a few recipes, but always shop bought. So this is very exciting. I have made filo once for Bake Off many years ago, and I promised myself I'll never make it again.
Hopefully we'll see easier now.
I want to change my mind. That's why. So let's get
It's
cooking.
definitely worth it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the dough, the filo, is very simple. It's only like essentially like 3-4 ingredients with the water. It's just plain flour, and I really always advise it's just like the plain flour. You don't want strong flour or anything special because it changes the elasticity of the dough. You can probably do it, but might be discouraged if it doesn't work out the first time around. So I'll just say plain flour, not strong flour, not self-raising flour, just standard. And you need 500 grams of this in here for 1 filo pie. It's really fun to make actually. So then we've got a spoon, half a tablespoon. And if you use like salt like this, like flakes, I always make sure to just like rub them a bit to make them more fine. I would normally use fine salt because they sometimes stay whole and then kind of rip your dough weirdly. And then this is a very oily like recipe in general, which it doesn't seem when you eat the pie, but it kind of everything has to be quite well lubricated because this is when things break when you stretch it. So you just do like 1.5 tablespoons of oil in here as well for the dough. There we go. Flour is different and weather is different, and then we know when we make like bread goods, it always depends. So like recently when I was doing it like in the mountains in Bulgaria, it was so humid, and I very proud of myself made sure I reduce like by like 10-20 grams like the amount of water, because it does make a difference if it's like a really humid day. So in the UK also sometimes very humid, and I will reduce it. So we put about between 250 to 280 ml of water. So I'll just put this in here, and beautiful pouring skills. Now we just have to mix it. This can be done in like a mixer, but I like doing it by hand, and it gets really strong.
Workout.
Yeah. So like just kind of like slowly like introduce it, and it's nice when the bowl becomes clean. You kind of know, then you can kind of go outside of the bowl, or if you just really want to stay like really neat in here, like you can just do it all in the bowl. But it's up to you. It's not a problem. It will start to like get to the right consistency in about 10 minutes, when you need it for about 10 minutes.
Okay.
And there is a really lovely way, it always reminds me, you know, kind of this trick with the well done like steak and like medium rare. But people always say it should be like your earlobe, like the dough should be like as soft as your earlobe. So when you touch your earlobe, that you kind of know it's the right amount of water in it. So you can always like add more flour or less, like just, you know, initially start with less water to make sure you get it as soft as your earlobe.
So right now you could just bring it together.
You just bring it together however you like.
The bowl is clean is a sign.
Yeah, it's a good sign that you're kind of getting there.
Yeah.
So this is very clean bowl. So we put the right amount of water, which is 280 today. So I put like the kind of upper limit of it. But I always find it's better to have like a softer dough. It's easier, especially if you're starting with this, like, you know, it feels easy to stretch afterwards. Like it can work with a tougher dough, and it kind of relaxes, and especially if you let it rest for longer. But like just finish the whole thing, like just this initial knead in here, or just on the surface. It's up to you.
How many minutes?
10 minutes, which is, hold on then.
It's okay, I've got a timer.
Hey Siri, 10 minutes timer.
I never use it.
I always use it because it's like when your like hands are messy, it's really good.
That looks so.
Yeah, I hope this is going to be good.
Relaxing.
Yeah, I've you know, you get like a proper nice like biceps,
Do you
triceps
not then
from it.
change your hands?
Hands. Sometimes I do, but I find it weird because I actually use my left, like my non-dominant hand for this, and
Yeah. Which is good because
which is
then
good because it just kind of like builds up a bit of strength in it. Yeah. You can see a little bubble here, which I was talking about. Can you see it in the camera? Oh, I just pressed it down, but like there's a little. This is like a good sign. Oh, it's one happening here right now.
Oh yes, we
Yeah,
can see
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
This is a very good sign, and it's obviously like as soft as your earlobe. You can kind of like check it against that.
That looks amazing.
So that's can now go and rest for at least. I would say if you want to be doing it for the first time, you should give it like about 2 hours. You can always make this like the night before, and you can stay in the fridge for like at least 2 days as well.
Wow.
Yeah, it's absolutely fine. It's not gonna.
So if we put it in the fridge, does it need to come to room temperature?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And when you like re-knead it again, it will be a bit cold and tough at first, and you have to kind of like really warm it up with your body warmth to like get it going again. But always like grease it up nicely. You don't want any crust forming anywhere because that will be basically like breaking as soon as soon as it starts. But like you can really see the bubbles happening now.
Wow.
Yeah, this is kind of what you want.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
There's another one there. Oh yeah.
Yeah. This is how you keep it. You put a little bit in your bowl.
Yeah.
And then you put a little bit on it as well. And you give it a good, nice sort of like rub. And then you want to cover it like really like tightly with the cling film around it, which I will do right now with this reused cling film. But you just want to make sure it's all very nice and tight so you don't get any dry bits. And then you can just either leave it out if you're doing it straight away or overnight in the fridge.
Okay.
You can see it's quite stretchy now, it's rested. To fold it over, this needs about 5 minutes of this, but this is good to fold over, and it's kind of like a really, like laminating it and creating more of those like air bubbles later on. So you kind of just like do this. And then the first few times it will be easier, and then again, you kind of like start breaking up the structure, so it will get a bit, more kind of like have these like stretchy bits here, but it will eventually will come together again, and then we'll rest.
So how long are you going to do this?
Maybe
for?
5 minutes now. Try to stretch out and like fold over and then close it, and then same again. I kind of needed it the first time, like the same technique, because it just is how I'll do it.
Yeah. So if the dough goes too soft, then you can.
You can always adjust, of course.
Just add a little bit of flour.
Flour.
To the surface.
Yeah. So it doesn't stick too much. But again, you can see how these are going to start forming in a second, like all the bubbles, which you can't see right now, but you'll see in a second it will happen. So you can see there's air like happening again. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, this is very obvious now.
Very obvious.
Yeah, and it will happen more and more and more.
Oh, sorry. So it's a bit sticky now, and you've
It's a bit
added
sticky.
a little bit of flour to the surface.
Yeah, and we want to do the same thing, like rest it in here for like 15 minutes now.
Okay.
And then we'll be ready to roll it.
Oh my God, so
Yeah.
exciting. So are we okay to do the filling in the meantime?
We are okay to do a filling in the meantime. Yeah, want everything laid out so it's very easy for you to like navigate, because you don't want it like resting out for too long because it starts like drying out and stuff. So you'll see.
So we have got the filling of leeks.
Yep.
We've got some eggs,
Eggs.
feta, and some natural yogurt.
Yep. And it's pretty straightforward. You just want to like clean up your leek, chop it up finely, maybe just in half, and then just chop it up.
So how many are you using? 3, 4?
Yeah, again, it doesn't have to be super like precise. It's up to you. You can adjust it. I like to have a good amount of leeks just in case, because I don't want my, again, if you're doing it for the first time, it's good to have a slightly more like thicker filling. Okay. Because it doesn't, if you have a very runny filling, you might kind of interact with your dough, and if you don't know what you're doing, if you're a bit slower, that might be a problem. So I like to have a bit of a thicker filling, and then the leek really helps doing this. But we're just going to like clean the leek, chop it up, and fry it, and then sort of like just soften it in a bit of butter. And there'll be a lot of butter in everything. So yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's start with this much and see how it goes. I was like,
it's a light meal then.
Very light meal. Yeah.
Only butter and butter.
But as we said, the dough is actually vegan, so you can do quite often in Bulgaria, because it's cheaper. People do it with just like sunflower oil, and sunflower oil makes it quite crispy as well. Oh. So It's absolutely fine. The only thing that you have to sort of like, if you're doing like a vegan version, you have to bear in mind is if you don't use eggs, it's not gonna like the filling is not gonna really expand inside. So you have to find like, you know, I've done it before with like flaxseed for like vegan friends and stuff, and it kind of does work when you do this like fake egg white. Yeah. So yeah, we're just gonna melt this in here.
So just 5 minutes?
I would say, yeah, I would say maybe fry it for 5 minutes and then maybe cover it with a lid for a few more to like just get it nice and soft. Because like it looks like a lot in the pan at the moment, but it really like welts into nothing. So this is like nice and soft now, and you can see how it's like reduced in size like massively.
Perfect.
So
you're gonna take it out.
Take it out. You can put it. You also use the same bowl. It's fine.
Okay.
And then just. But what's obviously important is not to add the eggs to the hot leek, because they will cook straight away. Yeah. So just let that cool a little bit before you add your eggs in here.
Okay. So I think this is a 12 or 14 inch.
Yeah, it's like 30 centimeters or something like this. Yeah. You can always go smaller or bigger because you can again like adjust how much you stretch and how much you twirl. I've had experience of both. Like even if you end up with a little bit of space around the edges, that's fine. The filo will expand. Even if it's a bit snug, you see it, like you kind of can see it in the cross section once you cut it. You see like sometimes it's just like snugger, like rolls of filo, because it's like essentially we call this like vita BANITSA, which means like vita means something that's like coiled up.
Okay.
So you'll see like later on. But these days I like to actually put, like my grandma or anyone at home never put like any like baking paper, but it's easy because you can just also like, if you don't want to wait for it to cool down in the tray and have this like, you can just lift it out and it cools down much quicker. So I will just like crinkle this up and then just place it in. We've sprayed a little bit of, what did we spray? Gold wax. Got some hairspray in here and then, yeah, so just a little bit like this on the side. It will weigh it down.
Help to take it out.
It will be super easy to take it out afterwards. I would like to like pre-melt my butter because we will be using the butter to kind of like roll it like the filo into, like we'll roll the butter into the filo and then we'll use some on top as well, and then obviously for a pan. So it's nice to have like nice and runny at hand at all times, and you might not end up using all of it, but I like to have like, this is like a 2/3 of a pack, so that'll be like 2/3 of a 250 or something. So yeah. Okay. This is like just a few spoons in here, and obviously I'll put again like the yogurt first, just to like cool it down further, so we make sure it's not like hot or anything. And then just crumble in some feta, and again this is an absolute like personal preference of how you know, big or small you want the chunks in there, because they will stay that size inside, and it's quite nice sometimes to have a big piece of feta in there, I find. So these are 150 grams, so it's slightly more than what I just said. So because we're doing a bit more anyway.
But again, it's kind of that filling where you can
really like have any kind of filling in there. This is just one of those things, like this one just works so well. It's just so delicious. Like,
is it a classic combination?
Classic combination, yeah. So in Bulgaria, it's a very, this dish is everywhere. So we call it BANITSA. Like our neighbors sometimes call it pita or spanakopita, pita, or you know, we call it BANITSA. It's like a pizza with a bar, like BANITSA. And we have places called like BANITSA, which are our breakfast is this dish essentially, and they're just specifically just for that. And you know, you can find all kind of different types, which are like, you know, cottage cheese or cheese and eggs, or you know, spinach. But normally it's something green and eggs and feta.
And some kind of cheese.
And it's always feta cheese in there. So people do like contemporary versions of them now and stuff. You can, of course, you can always grate some like yellow cheese, like cheddar on top, or kashkaval, which we've got in Bulgaria. But you know, minced version is quite popular too. But the main thing is quite. It's like an auspicious sort of dish as well. We have it for New Year's, and essentially you put little like lucky kind of like wishes inside, and everyone takes a piece, and the piece that like, you know, you find like a little wish inside. It's almost like it is very, when you're a kid, it's really, really exciting to have like the wish from and it's really fun to write them when you're grown up, because it can be like a bit of like tongue-in-cheek. Eggs in here. There we go. And that's pretty much it. And you can see it's not going to be too runny or anything. Yeah. It's going to be pretty thick, so it should be fine for this one. So we've got our stretching table here. And it's just like a piece of wood, like a round piece of wood. You can do it in like elliptical tables as well. You just don't want to have like sharp edges around it. Okay. And you can use like an old like bed sheet or something. I got like my special piece of cloth for it, but any kind of natural fabric will do. And you put this on top, not just to keep it clean, but it actually helps you in the rolling process. Okay. So you'll see in a moment. So yeah, so just put a sheet on top and just like slightly like sort of like dust it with flour. Yeah. So many ovens, look at that. So many ovens.
Just two ovens. So we're doing it at 180.
Yeah.
And 180 and 160 fan.
Fan, yeah. Okay. That should be good. Maybe like 180 fan, I would say.
Oh, 180
yeah,
fan.
Let's do 180
okay.
fan.
180 fan.
Okay, right. So we oil up our surface.
Wow.
There we go. And then we
So you can't be shy with oil.
No, you have to really oil up every single part of it. The actual dough, your hands, everything needs to be proper like lubricated because otherwise it will break. Okay. So the rolling pin as well, you kind of want it like nice and oiled up. And you kind of, I normally press a bit more in the middle and leave a bit more weight in the ends because this is kind of, you'll see like where you're stretching from inwards out. So you want kind of to have the stretch a bit in the middle. And you can always use a rolling pin to like just stretch it a little bit more in all directions, like evenly. That's always a good idea. And then when this is done, you kind of want about like 30 centimeters like circle. And you can just like oil up at the bottom. And then the other end as well.
It's already so stretchy.
Yeah. So now we want to lift it up with a reverse of our hands, and there we go. Put it in our table here. So you initially start doing it with the back of your hands like this, from the middle outwards. And you want your hands like really well oiled as well, because like literally every little imperfection could like rip it, which is not a problem, but it's so satisfying when you manage to like get it in one go. So you see it's quite...
So you really need a round table.
You kind of need a round table, or like, you know, oval will be... Yeah, you kind of want to be... But you can already see all the bubbles and how they're forming. Yeah. Be careful. And you want to kind of go over the edge. So it's kind of like almost like fixes it in a way. It's kind of getting there. There we go. There we go. So once you get to the edge, you... Oh my God. It's just really... you want to keep stretching down the edge, and at this point you kind of use your fingers to stretch sideways because you don't want to rip this already what you stretch here, but you really want to give it like a little bit of an overhang which you then like fold over. You'll see how it's going to work because we want like a double layer for your filling.
I am so impressed. It's beautiful.
So once you feel like you've... Actually, we can move it a little bit this way so we don't have to. Once you feel like you've stretched enough of a overhang here, you can see like just find somewhere and like rip it and then start sort of tidying up the edges. You can fold these in, but it creates like a slight... Yeah, you just want to get like a fine... Yeah. Yeah, because otherwise it creates a slightly thicker... like the first roll becomes slightly thicker, so I don't really like that. So you can always use a knife to help yourself, but I'm kind of like, I've learned to do it all like this myself, just like, yeah, once you've learned how to do it, it becomes second nature. So we're almost there.
Oh my God, not a dot of splits or a hole.
So I quite like to go do a little round right up to the edge here. So when we fold it, we will basically trap some oil in the first fold, and then that kind of obviously creates like crispiness and it's like lamination in a way. Like again, don't be shy with the butter, it's just like flavor. Absolutely fine with oil.
Oh, so we could just use oil for
oil for everything, yeah.
Oh my
at any point.
God,
so what this, when you lift it like this, like what happens is essentially a little bit of air goes underneath and kind of dries it out just the right amount to create this like crispiness. you kind of want to do the first fold in. So I just do like, maybe like just a, I don't know, 4 hands apart kind of thing, and just fold it in like this to create the first, the base for where we're going to put our filling. Oops. I really recommend not to overfill it. It kind of, I tend to do that, and it becomes more difficult to then work the dough after that. So what I do is like I always put a little bit what looks stingy to me.
Yeah. Oh, so you're starting it with the border.
Yeah, so this is why we doubled it here. So you can see already how it's like creating this like crispiness. Like it's brilliant. I love it. I love it.
Oh my God, that is just, I'm in love with this whole thing.
So we kind of almost actually used everything up. So the amounts that I've given you are correct. So what you do is you take the cloth that you're using and gently start rolling it in to create the first roll, like this. And then you just go around and do the same.
That's why you need the cloth.
Yep, because this is I've tried doing it by hand and it's just almost impossible. This really helps you. Yeah, it's really thin and like it rips and it just doesn't roll really. This helps so much. And then you end up with a clean table underneath as well. There we go. And then the last one. Come on, friend, let's go. There we go. So once we've done this, we can then like switch to your hands again. So it's quite like now easy to like roll it around with your hands.
Okay.
Yeah, so what you want to do is you create these rolls, and of course you can see what's happening if you actually, it's a bit like slidey here, and this is what happens. So that's why you can always just go back to like using like
also because there's so much butter.
Yeah.
Filling,
but you want to like constantly be like stretching out again and then rolling again, because this creates this like pattern like of, you know, all these like rolls and like butter and rolls of filo and butter. So you just kind of like go back, and if it starts ripping, it's fine. Like you just kind of want to like evenly do it from all ends. You can always like roll a bit more in, a bit more. And then you can again just like stretch out.
Oh my
stretch
God.
out. I know, it's kind of crazy. Oh. And you can see like this is just my fingers, but it can really be like super extra careful and kind of like do loads and loads and loads of like rolls of it. And when it starts ripping like this, it's kind of coming to an end, and I like to keep it tidy, so I just do this.
Oh.
And then like sort of roll the last bit in like on it.
Oh God, that's absolutely stunning work.
So once you do this, what I normally do is I kind of stretch it to the whole diameter of this.
Yeah.
Like that, and then bring our tin. So what I'll do, I'll butter it a little bit in the middle, just in case. But you'll see, I'll put like more butter on top anyway, so it'll be absolutely fine. So now I normally like look for because naturally you end up with like a place when it's slightly pinched or thin, and it's a good place to just like stretch it out and just like start like rolling in. So what I do is I place the middle here, and then I just start like rolling it in like this. And again, if it rips a little bit or something, it's absolutely fine. You can see how it's happening here. It's gonna keep shape like when it's cooking. It's totally fine. There we go. And you can always like just tuck the last bit in like this. We put a lot of butter on top as well. So just a bit more butter here.
Oh my God.
I mean, you can always brush it, of course, but I just do it like this. So it will even out when you do it.
So now we've used a whole block of butter. This
Yeah.
is going to be stunning.
Buttery.
Delicious.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And now we've got one last thing to do.
Oh, happy.
We do a topping. And you can do it like just like this.
Yeah.
But
we
I
need a topping.
Yeah, I love a topping. So I would say 1 egg for this, maybe 2. Let's see. So just an egg, a spoon of yogurt. Let's see how far we get it. Just mix it up. Obviously, it's easier if you do it with a fork, but we've got a spoon here, so quite a big surface. So maybe 2 eggs will be good. I feel like sometimes even if it looks like it's quite full on top, it's absolutely fine. It kind of, this topping sort of like soaks into the dough, and you kind of really can't overdo it.
So just egg and yogurt.
Yogurt, yeah.
No way. Oh my god.
And I use everything, like my hands for everything, so
Same here. You've
again,
come to the
just
right kitchen.
just here to.
Oh my goodness.
There we go. Like you can see, these bubbles are already forming. It's like it's gonna really like rise from the middle and the sides. You can see this is all happening. They get so big. In the oven, I would say 40-45 minutes.
Okay.
Will be perfect. So it just goes all in. Ooh. This is a very special door. This is the Bake Off. There we go.
See you shortly.
Your oven's too good. That's why mine is like I can't get like exactly the precise temperature. So I know how this works this time. Look at that. Oh. Whoa. There we go.
Oh my god. Wow.
This is it.
Look at
BANITSA.
that. This is beautiful.
Yeah. Oh, nice and
Crispy.
Yeah, that's what we want. Yeah. There we go.
So the paper works really well.
Yeah.
You can just pick it up.
Yeah. And it's good all over, I think, yeah.
I'm ready.
There we go.
Whoa. Oh my god. Yeah. Oh, wow.
That's nice. There we go. Yeah.
Oh, wait. Sharp. Oh my god.
Hot stuff. We're eating now.
We are eating. Oh my god. It smells amazing.
Smells really good. I mean, the whole house smells like,
Oh my god. I have to take the picture of this. Wait a second, guys.
Yeah, it gets very flaky, it does. It's great. Yeah. You can see all the layers of everything that we've like rolled and stuff. It's great. And it's all butter in between.
Oh my goodness.
So it's like, it's great. Yeah. Let's eat it.
Wait.
It's good.
It's good? Okay. This looks so weird,
I
like
know.
in uniform.
Our little like planet uniform.
This is literally, guys, just falling apart. If you can see, it's just falling apart.
That's so good.
It's hot.
It's very hot.
Oh.
I'm gonna have the crispy bit.
Oh my god. That is divine. You have to bend down. We can't see you.
Over here.
Oh my god. But the thing is, tell me, this would be really nice.
Yeah.
This will be really nice at room temperature as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. You can have it room temperature.
So if I make it and if I say whatever is left over, I can have it for breakfast
Absolutely.
tomorrow.
Yeah. That's totally fine. Like some people even like it room temperature.
What about in the fridge?
I would.
Not.
I try to keep it out.
Yeah.
Because especially when we've made it with butter, the butter will obviously like harden and stuff. But it does keep quite nicely just on the counter for a while, and then you know it's fine. I mean, normally you just eat it before you kind of have to worry about putting it back in the fridge. But yeah, we'll definitely 24 hours will not do anything like bad to it or anything. It's
Oh my god, thank you so
absolute
much.
pleasure. I'm really happy when I see this.
Oh, so pretty. And guys, I have not done such a detailed video in a long time. So I've been desperate to do this. We've been talking about this for months. Hope you will leave the fear of filo behind. Just get yourself a round thing. And I hope you will enjoy this. Please give it a go. Alex can be found on Instagram. I will share the link in the description and in comments. So you must follow his account because it's beautiful food. Oh my God, he makes me so hungry all the time.
Oh, thank you.
This is just stunning. Don't forget to subscribe and I'll see you next week with another new recipe. Bye.